what we want to do is start out talking about community engagement, and there's no one better than Bill Shacklet to be able to tell you about community engagement and advocacy, and he's going to talk to you about boards and commissions too.
No, this is a great place, and I appreciate all of you coming out tonight. You know, there's no way that government can happen without you. Effective government can't happen unless you're involved in it. And I hope everybody that comes up here, all the department heads, will remind you, as you learn more information, you can be more effective in representing our citizens. And your ideas are really important, because sometimes the truth is between us as we respectfully dialogue over difficult issues that we face. I wanted to tell you a little bit, and if you want to find out how to get engaged in your local government, go to our website, and there's a list of boards and commissions, as you see right here, everything from the Airport Commission, the Board of Electrical Examiners, the Board of Gas Examiners, City School Board, City Council, Community Investment, all kinds of opportunities for you to participate in one of these boards. Now, what you need to do, if you have an interest in serving on one of these boards, you'll need to fill out an application and look at that and then turn that in. And then as those openings appear, then the mayor and the council will appoint you to those particular those boards or commissions, and you can begin to become better familiar with something that you're passionate about. The other idea is that there's a place on our commission, on our website. Can we go to that? Stay connected. And when you get on this site right here, you'll see that there's a place for all of the alerts. You can sign up for an alert, and it will send you when a new agenda for a particular board or commission is being posted. It will send you those agendas. So then you can see what they're considering, and if you have a comment that you want to make, or if you want to find out about what was decided at that particular meeting, then you can stay connected through this particular part of our website. And once you've signed up, you're going to get them. I've signed up several times, and I get notifications all the time, even though I'm on City Council. Let's see if I can tell you. Oh, the other part, each meeting that we have, there is at the very beginning of the meeting, if you want to speak on something that is on an agenda, you can actually ask to speak to the board or the commission or the city council, and you'll have 3 minutes to speak if you're speaking for an individual, or 5 minutes to speak if you're speaking for a group. So I'd encourage you that if there's something being considered on the agenda, show up early in the meeting, because normally that particular public comment section normally comes right at the first of the meeting. Now, if it's a board or a zoning or planning issue that's being dealt with, there'll be a public hearing. If it's a zoning change, you can actually present in a public hearing. You'll have an opportunity to express your opinions or perspective in that same 3-minute, 5-minute intervals as to what's happening, what is being proposed, and your opinion of it. You know, if it's a particular zoning issue that you have and you have a particular perspective, it's affecting a property close to you or something, then you can make your comments known during that public hearing on that particular issue. Let's see if there's something else I need to talk to you about. Social media. There's a lot of social media opportunities in our city. Just go to this social media set right here, and you'll see all those social medias. And I don't know, hardly the only one I really know is Facebook, but I'm sure there's a whole bunch more. But anything, they're amazing to be able to keep you aware of what's going on in the city. And one other thing, we have an award-winning. Our folks that do media at our city channel are award-winning people, and I tell you, every day that we get a chance, if you look at some of the videos and how what they do for the city to help you get the word out about whether it's trash collection or something that's happening in our schools, they do an amazing job to production for that, and they've actually won awards, national awards, on how the quality of their production. So there's lots of information on our website, so I would encourage you and point you, if you want to get involved and you want to participate and have a part in what's going on in the city and be more knowledgeable, and obviously you do, because you wouldn't be here if you didn't want to know more and be more knowledgeable as to what's going on in the city. Go to our website. And then also, I'd say contact the city councilman. Call us. I don't know that all my colleagues will welcome your input and like to hear your particular perspective on the issues that are before us. And hopefully together we can make our community even better. Thank you.
All right, one thing I forgot to ask, and I think that the number is going to be higher than looking out in the audience. If you are originally from Murfreesboro, raise your hand. Okay, so probably about 30 people out of what, I'd say we have 120 people here. That's really high typically from the groups that we meet with. It's usually less than 10%. And I always joke and say this, y'all 30 people who raised your hands, y'all can gripe about traffic all you want to. Everybody else, y'all moved here just like I did, and y'all caused the growth that's coming. People laugh a little more usually on that, but you wouldn't believe when you go to the west side of town, typically your downtown area is people who have been here a long time. But if you go to the west side of Murfreesboro, that number, I think when we were at Blackman, maybe 4 or 5 people out of the 125 people who were in the church are from Murfreesboro. And to put that in perspective, if you were to lop off the west side of Murfreesboro, it would be the 6th or 7th largest city in the state of Tennessee. That's how many people are living on the west side of Murfreesboro now. So I want to start our next part is on, and really we're going to go into 4 parts now. We're going to talk about Town Creek, we're also going to talk about the Keystone Project, we're going to talk about roads, downtown development, then we're going to move to homelessness and some things that we've been working on, panhandling. So I want to ask if Greg, Darren, and Nate will come up. They're going to talk to you about the Town Creek project. They're going to give you an update on Cannonsburg and the Journey Home relocation. And Darren is our new city manager. Darren was in charge of our water and sewer department for how many years? 12 years. And then Darren celebrated his first anniversary as city manager on July the 2nd. So if you have a problem with something in the city of Murfreesboro, we like to say it's Darren's fault, so we can talk to him.
Well, I'll echo the mayor's sentiment that we've got a great group. One of the main decisions for me taking the position was the fact I knew I had a great leadership team, and of course the council too. Just huge support. They really do let us explore opportunities and back us in new endeavors. So really appreciate that. I'm from Smyrna. That didn't come up in my interview. That may have led to a different result if they had asked that question where I'm from, but no. I love Smyrna, still do. My dad still lives there. So real quick on the the Town Creek project. This was Sam's project, so this is one of the gaps we're having to fill now that Sam's gone. But basically what you see is you've just seen all the demolition that's occurred. The South Plaza, and this is a little bit better view maybe. Oh crap. Let me make sure I got okay. The South Plaza, this TV doesn't do the laser. Okay. South Plaza, that's been demoed. They're getting this mass grading done. The erosion and sediment controls are in place. They're looking forward to installing the stormwater piping, water lines, underground electrical conduit, and they're excavating the creek to its finished grade. Got some retaining walls that are going to go up. I think I was at Bart's radio show the other day and basically said we're just getting the foundation right. I mean, we got, anytime we do any kind of major project like this, even if it's a road project, I say it's a road project plus a utility corridor. You got to get all the foundation and get all the utilities relocated and get everything moved before you can actually start to see a lot of progress. So we have had no safety issues on the site, which has been great. And we are starting to talk about street closures that are coming up, Front Street. And so we are looking at a updated traffic control plan. This is only our 5th progress meeting, and so we're having them about every 2 weeks. So we've just had, it's been under construction now for about 12 weeks. Completion date is set for we got to finish it by the end of 2026 to get our ARPA money. So that's kind of hopefully you'll still see progress. I know they're out there working very hard. With the Keystone project, this is the downtown mixed-use development that we've been working on for quite a while. We've had struggles with the financing component, or the developers have had struggles on getting the financing package. We've ultimately had to go, you kind of see the color code, it's got to go in 3 sections. And I'm kind of calling section 1 as committed and confirmed. They'll have the financing for that ready to go. Section 2 is semi-secured. They're going to end up having to get some pre-sales on the condos. So there's about 100 condos in section 2. There's 239 multifamily units in section 1. So, and then section 3 is really the hotel, 115-room hotel that we're calling, that's more speculative. They're saying that, hey, if we build these other components, the others will come. Section 1 is going to have about almost 26,000 square feet of commercial area. Section 2 is only about 3,000 square feet of retail, and then the hotel will have about 7,100 square feet of retail. And again, we finalized, for the most part, the approach to the financing. Now the lawyers are really digging in. I can say an aggressive schedule, which is a little tight, so I'm hesitant to bring it up, but we'd like to have something in front of the council August 28th. It's probably more likely that we'll have something in front of the council September 11th or September 18th to really finalize the development agreement and the purchase and sale agreement. So this, I could have put this up. It's probably hard to see, but these are the numbers. It's a $150 million investment, and we're looking at a TIF, which is a tax incremental financing that goes back to the developer there's 2 parking decks, 422 spaces in one, and about 314 parking spaces in the other. So we're looking at just about a $1.2 or $1.3 million TIF that's going to go back for those public improvements. Again, we hope to have that started, and hopefully we'll see some things getting knocked down. My old office, the water admin, and the old city hall is starting to come down. I know WGNS has got to be relocated in part of the phase 1 as well, and I know that they're working through that agreement with them. So that's all I've got. Mayor, if you want to take us to the next item.
Thank you, Darren. All right, let's move over to roads and transportation updates. Michelle Emerson and Jim Kerr are going to update you on downtown traffic, the pedestrian bridge that's coming on, update on the transit center. I don't know if you've seen our new transit center that's on Highway 99 that is finishing up under construction, and then an update on other road and transportation projects. And before Michelle comes up, I'm not trying to give a shameless plug, but if you go to City TV or go to YouTube, there's about a 10-minute segment that Chris Griffith, who is our lead engineer, or director of engineering, and what else, Chris? Public infrastructure, all things construction. We did about a 10 or 15 minute segment on all the roads that are under construction in Murfreesboro right now, roads that are being finished up, and then state projects that are proceeding. So it's really a good 15-minute deal to update you on all the roads that are under construction in Murfreesboro, which is pretty much just about every road in Murfreesboro is under construction. So, Michelle.
Good evening. I'm Michelle Emerson. I'm the city engineer. I'm going to talk to you about some of the pedestrian improvements that we have proposed. We've got 2 projects that I'm going to talk about. The first one is the pavers that are downtown. We are going to start replacing those with stamped concrete to make the ADA compliance. Then we have a consultant on board looking at multimodal options for Lytle Street to encourage bicycles and pedestrians in that corridor from downtown to MTSU. Another project that we're working on right now is the closure of a right turn right in and out on this intersection with Vine, Front, and Broad. We experience accidents there on a regular basis, and so this is a temporary fix. When the Project Keystone moves forward, that is a developer-driven improvement, and they will make the permanent improvements to this intersection. And then this is on Broad Street from Manny to Bradyville. We're gonna widen the road to 7 lanes with additional turn movements. There'll be a 5-foot grass strip and 5-foot sidewalks on both sides. Then we're also gonna realign Ash Street to improve sight distance there. All right, Jennifer's up next.
Thank you, Michelle.
Yeah, big one on the side.
Good evening. Give you an update on the Broad Street pedestrian bridge. Of course, there's some federal dollars associated with this particular project, so we've got to go through the federal process. Right now, we are actually just sent, hopefully, the final information of the environmental document, the NEPA document, to TDOT for approval, and hopefully we can start moving into final design phase for this project. This will connect the Keystone project, which Darren was talking with, as well as the Town Creek project across Broad Street. Dr. Martin Luther King Boulevard project, phase 2. We actually bid this project on July the 15th. We only received one bid and the bids were high, so we are actually looking at rebidding this project, so hopefully we can get that back out on the streets within the next couple months or so. The Transit Center. This is a project where we actually received 3 separate Tennessee Improve Act grants from the Department of Transportation, as well as $7 million in federal funding. This will allow expansion of existing routes and additional new routes to be added over time in the future. We expect all staff, administrative staff, to be in the facility in the next 2 to 3 weeks, with passenger operations and new routes expected to begin September 8th. We have to provide a 21-day public notice with our federal dollars that we're leveraging. And we got one more transit project that we'd like to talk about. We're actually adding 7 additional bus shelters throughout the city. They will be along the current routes of Memorial, Church Street, Northfield, Greenland Drive, and Middle Tennessee Boulevard. Mr. Baines, thank you.
I'm sure y'all have more questions coming up on roads, but to tell you just a little bit on state roads, I know there's a lot of local roads that are happening, but we're working on phase 3 of Highway 99. That's the section from Veterans Park, or Cason Lane to Veterans Parkway. It goes about 1,400 feet past Veterans Parkway to Rockville, the Rockville High School. Thompson Lane is under the bidding process. Is that right, Chris? That's going to be roughly a $150 million project. And a lot of people don't even know that Thompson Lane is a state road. So from Memorial all the way to Broad Street, 3 bridges, it is going to be a big project, probably the biggest road project that has happened in Murfreesboro. Very expensive. To give you an idea, our utility relocation, we discussed this at council on Thursday night. TDOT gave us $2.9 million in, what's that? 3.5 million for utility relocation, and it's going to be closer to 20 million to relocate. Is that pretty close? Yeah, so lots of things that are happening there. Also, for those of us that will be looking for 2030, we were allocated money for widening Old Fort Parkway, and that would be from the bridge over Broad all the way back to I-24, and that entire road will be going 6 lanes, 3 lanes on each side, and then we're trying to figure out what to do. Chris is working diligently, Michelle's working diligently on this, Jim, on what we're going to do with the Target intersection and the Panera, I like to say Panera, that intersection. I don't know what Dear Murfreesboro, for those of y'all who are on Instagram, they're going to do when that intersection's improved, but we're pushing forward nonetheless. Downtown study redevelopment updates. Ben Newman is our Director of Planning, and he's going to update you on our downtown study, our affordable housing, those things we're working on. Ben.
Thank you, Mayor McFarland, and thanks for allowing us this opportunity tonight. Really appreciate it. Like I said, I'm Ben Newman, Director of Planning. I'm going to talk a little bit about a downtown study that we had commissioned. In that, triggering a research project to Oxford, Mississippi. And then next phase is talk briefly about affordable housing, down payment assistance program in that, and then housing rehab program. First, turning to the downtown study. So the city used KDGI, which is headquartered here in downtown Murfreesboro, to look and see how we can fully activate our downtown. And I'm talking about the square downtown. In that, we identified roadblocks and opportunities to help with economic development and affordable housing in the downtown area. In this, we looked at inventory of existing structures, identified infrastructure obstacles, identified public realm obstacles, and then identified owner obstacles. All the while, we're asking ourselves, how can we fully activate the downtown square? Look at floors, main floor businesses, upstairs offices, or upstairs residential units. In this study, we determined that we really need to get out of the office and look and see what some of our peers are doing. So that triggered a trip to a city similar in size, especially in our downtown area, particularly. So we went to Oxford, Mississippi. One of the first things you see when you go downtown is you notice these very large balconies that are on these structures. If you think about downtown, there's really nowhere to go out. Most buildings have to go up. Well, with downtown balconies, they found a way to expand out a little bit into the public right-of-way. And what this did is it attracted more customers, generated more revenue, added a little bit of square footage to those businesses, and did it in a good way, pleasing to the residents that are down there. One of the other things that we looked at in Oxford was during COVID, some of the restaurants that were on the main floor expanded out into the public right-of-way. And after COVID, it was so popular that a lot of those stayed, and the city invested in those areas and allowed them to continue to operate. So what happened, you see in the top picture, it's harder to see if you're a little bit further away, but they took away some of the on-street parking, expanded the sidewalk out to where that parking was, and then allowed the tenant to come into that space in between. So this patio space was declared surplus property and then leased back to the tenant so that the city could recover some of that expense that the city put in. This was a win-win for the city, for the business, and for the residents. It gave people a good place to be outside, eat, and feel good about seeing the city while they were there. Another key takeaway from the Oxford trip, trash enclosures in zones for the downtown area. So once a zone was established, the city built these downtown trash and grease traps for those people to dump their trash into. You weren't allowed to use the rolling trash cans anymore. Cleans up the street. The top picture here shows a lot of the cluttered areas where you have dumpsters and other things sitting out there. The bottom picture was after the city invested and made some of that happen where those folks couldn't use those outside trash cans anymore. It was a great benefit for Oxford. One of the other and final key takeaways that we saw was the need for parking in the downtown Oxford area. They wanted to find a way to fund it. So they created a parking commission who installed meters at all the street parking in downtown Oxford. So what that did is it collected money. It allowed them to start a fund. After 2 years, a parking garage was built. Downtown Square is here. The parking garage was just off the downtown square. Those meters paid for that parking, and it continues to pay for the parking. Part of the parking garage is free parking on the upper levels, and I think the bottom level has a little bit of paid parking there. So still some free parking, but throughout the city, it's metered parking. That was a large economic impact for the city. It allowed people to come in an easy way to get into downtown. So next steps, after looking at this. This is Murfreesboro, and this is Oxford, Mississippi. We plan to use the KDGI downtown study as a roadmap. We want to continue to have meetings with Main Street and downtown residents, business owners, and other stakeholders for their input. We want to continue to formulate a needs assessment to figure out what are the roadblocks, what are some opportunities that may be out there that the city can partner with. The city can't do it, but the city can help lay some groundwork to allow the public sector to do that, the private sector to do that. And then use some of our current tools, building and codes, and looking at formation of a downtown rehabilitation committee to figure out how we can make some of these things happen. And then just keep the ball rolling. So a lot of opportunities for our downtown. We look forward to seeing what happens as we continue to work through that. But now let me turn a little bit to community development. Community development is a very integral part of our city, especially in downtown. And they're helping with affordable housing, something that all cities in America are struggling with right now. So far, or since 2022, Community Development has partnered with Murfreesboro Housing Authority and has worked on at least $1 million in projects together. Murfreesboro Housing Authority doing much more in projects, but our Community Development Department has been partners with them. Affordable Housing Assistance Program is something that a lot of people don't know about, but it's something that we do have. Right now, a successful applicant could gain up to $10,000 toward a down payment for a new home. That could go up to $50,000 in the near future, and you'll just have to stay tuned and see how that goes. Another good program is housing rehabilitation, and so this is where an owner-occupied home may be awarded some financial assistance for projects such as roof repair, roof replacement, structural foundation issues, and things like that. Contacting our Community Development Department is fairly easy. You can go to murfreesborotn.gov. Under the Your Government tab, you can look under Departments, and you'll see Community Development there. Great people, happy to help with a lot of the programs that they have. So if you or someone you know needs that type of assistance, they're available to help. So appreciate your time, and happy to take questions toward the end.
All right, let's move. We're going to talk about something the council's been really wrestling and talking with for the last 2 or 3 years, but Sean Wright, I think Sean came in. Where are you, Sean? Sean, and then Kurt Wade are going to come talk to you about homelessness and some panhandling signage that we've been working on.
I guess we can slide that off and trade around now. Let's go.
We didn't come here to preach today, but
So, you want me to start off?
go ahead.
All right. So, how many, I want to see a show of hands. I'm going to change the format from what the mayor says, because this is something that's important to all of us. This is something that really touches home with all of us. Murfreesboro is a caring community, but there's how you care and then how we deal with our homeless. We're trying to figure that out. It's a nationwide problem. So how do we figure it out here in rural America, here in Murfreesboro, Tennessee? So one of the things that we have said is we need help from outside agencies. We need help from outside agencies to help those that want to be helped. Because those are the people out there that really want to be helped. Now, let me ask you this. And when I say ask, y'all can answer. So, have you seen an increase in homeless in downtown Murfreesboro? Raise your hand. Okay. You can put your hands down. Have you seen a decrease? Oh, you can't hear? I'm sorry. I'm sorry, Mayor. So have you seen a decrease since we had police presence on the square? You can raise your hand. A little bit, okay. So let me ask you this. How many business owners do we have in here tonight that work down on the square? Jeff, could you tell me what you think about the homeless and
I'll say some of our employees have had issues with homeless people approach them. do you hear me now? On now? Hey, I work on the square, 16 Public Square North. I've been working there for 30 years or more now. Since the homeless population started, 10 to 15 years ago, our employees have had issues walking home at night to the parking garages and things like that, have been concerned about it, particularly our female employees in particular. And during daylight conditions, it's not really a problem, but at night when it's dark, I don't know they've ever had a dangerous situation happen, but there's a certain fear in their mind about it. So I will say, and I told the police officers who were here tonight earlier before the meeting, the presence downtown has helped, I think, with the homeless situation. And it's been really a noticeable difference since the police people have been there almost 24/7 since they started that plan. So I regularly see 2 police cars in the morning and at night, and I see officers on there by foot walking around and doing foot patrols. And it has helped with the homeless situation. It has also helped, I think, keep the square clean, because as a business owner, we had issues with beer bottles and things like that in front of our premises. And since that has happened, we've had definitely a reduction. So we would hope it would continue, and it's been a good thing for downtown, I think.
All right, I don't want to put you on the spot. Sean, can you come to the mic? I didn't mean to put you on the spot.
Sure. Sean Jackson from...
He doesn't even need a mic.
Can you hear me?
Of course.
My wife and I own the alley, and so I would say I reached out to City Council and the mayor a few months ago. We've had, obviously, if you've been in Murfreesboro the last 10 years, you've seen homeless downtown. And it's never, other than trash and things like that, it may be bothering some guests. We've never had really serious issues. But in the last few months, we've had issues to where some folks have gotten violent. If you were in our restaurant 3 or 4 weeks ago, we were our first of those guys, we actually had guests leaving the restaurant out on the sidewalk because they thought something was going to happen. This guy was yelling so loud and yelling at 2 of our employees. Police showed up. I'll say, anytime we had homeless or anything else, we have people. Can you hear me now? Is that better? Oh, there you go. And so the response is insanely fast for downtown response time. We had a second incident where broad daylight, this wasn't at night, at 10 o'clock in the morning, a guy is chasing one of my female servers from the parking garage. And so actually, I think this is the day I called it, and this isn't what you do, but I was so frustrated that now I'm downtown, driving around downtown, walking through the parking lot, going into the library, trying to find out who this guy is and where he is. And that's not the answer, right? But as this has gotten worse, and now people are getting violent, we have always been known to be a spot where if you need something to eat, come on by. We're gonna get you a pasta. It costs us $1, right? Why not give somebody, why not do that for someone? Well, now we were at the point we had to tell staff, no waters, no food, because now we're putting our guests and our staff into a position that they don't need to be in. And so I will say the police being downtown has helped. Today I had a conversation with somebody. We're seeing new people. And so we have to have compassion, right? We can't, the answer also isn't stop feeding them and giving them water. We're human. That's not the answer, but obviously something has to get done before somebody gets hurt. And so I love the police presence. I think it's helped. But walk into our library, and that blew my mind the first time I walked into the library. I thought it was 4 or 5 guys that were, the steady 4 or 5 guys you'd see downtown. It's not. You walk in there may be 20, 25 people in there. Hinkle will tell you about, I'll let him explain his interaction with somebody. But we can't let it get on the news like it did, because that doesn't help downtown business. But we've got to figure out who's accountable, how can we get these guys the help that they need, because we're also compassionate. These are people. But how do we also keep our guests, our staff safe?
So I think we all have the same goal. We want to see what we can do, how we can help our homeless, to get them help. Those are the ones that want to be helped. But we also want to be compassionate to say, hey, we have outside charities that can help these people. And what we're also saying, just like Sean said, he used to give them food and give them money, things of that nature. We suggest that you don't do that. Leave that to the outside charities. Now, one of the other things that we're going to talk about, and then at the end of this, before Sean and I sit down, we're going to ask Leslie Dodd with Journey Homes to come up to say a little bit about what they're doing in our community. So, Sean, you want to talk about Panhandle?
Yeah, let's talk about panhandling a little bit. And this doesn't just pertain to downtown, anywhere in Murfreesboro. So panhandling is a protected free speech type of thing, so it's not illegal. So when we see somebody panhandling, we can't go pick those people up and arrest them for panhandling. However, interacting and giving money to the panhandlers actually is illegal and can get you in trouble. So instead, just like Kurt was just saying about the outside charities and the different ways to give, instead of handing some money out the window or food out the window, we're going to be putting these signs up that have a QR code that's going to have a link to how to give to these other outside charities that are trying to help these people that want help and need our help. We're compassionate people. We want to help these folks. But I've seen it with my own eyes. You give people food, they go throw it in the floor or throw it on the trash, or they don't even eat it. That's not what they're looking for. So don't just hand them food. Don't just hand them money out the window, because then you're breaking the law and you put yourself in a chance to get in trouble. Instead, let's scan these things. Let's get these outside charities that are put together to help these people get the help they need.
All right, Ms. Leslie?
You didn't tell me this was going to be a hot seat, Shannon. My name is Leslie Dodd. I'm the current chair of the Journey Home Board. You all know what the Journey Home is, and you're just as happy as we are to be leaving Castle Street. We'll start moving August the 18th to our new facility at 1207 Old Salem Highway. And let me just say right now, that building, that $7 million building, was built out of the pockets of Murfreesboro. There's not a single taxpayer dollar in that building. So thank you for that, and that's a good example of the compassion that this community has always had. Homelessness is a deep, dense problem. It's not going to have a single solution, but I'll say right now, I'm going to go off script. The Journey Home is going to be part of the solution. We are not going to be part of the problem. The city came to some board members and the executive director in June just to express some concerns that they had. The Murfreesboro Police Department and the mayor and some really important people. And it was a little bit scary, but it was good because the Journey Home is taking responsibility for whatever we're responsible for. It doesn't matter whose fault it is. We're going to do what we can to fix it. For 8 weeks, since that meeting in June, we've been meeting weekly with the Murfreesboro Police Department, with the city, to come up with an accountability plan to hold clients accountable. We are going to really tighten our residency requirements so that if you don't live in Rutherford County, we don't serve you. We will give you 30 days to provide adequate information to prove that you're a resident of this county, and then after 30 days, we're going to, with Darren Gore's new plan of Help the Homeless Find a Home, we're going to send you back home with, right, Shane? Help the Homeless Find a Home? Yeah, we're going to send them back home. That's one good solution. If they've got a support system in some other town, they need to go back there. Sometimes they can't get there. The Journey Home will pay for them to go back home, but we've run out of money because the grant ended. So another way you can help, give the money to the Journey Home. Here's what we've done. In the last 8 weeks, we have developed an accountability framework. The Journey Home is going to be a new institution. We're still a deeply committed Christian mission. Our goal is to help homeless people get into a home. We have the community cafe, you have to feed people, but that's not the goal. The goal of the Journey Home is to get people into homes. We have worked really hard to come up with a plan that if you've got behavior problems, if you get arrested every other day, there's going to come a time when the Journey Home is not going to serve you. We are going to start being a little more definite about helping people who want to be helped. There's a big difference between enabling people, and that's what happens sometimes. We don't want to enable people. We want to help them. We want to be a bridge to reintegration into society, into a home. And we have up here a copy of our new accountability framework, and we also have copies of we've got a new statement that we're giving to all the churches and all the stakeholders that help us. And this is one thing that it says. The Journey Home is going to sharpen our focus to help those clients who want to be helped, whether they are persons experiencing temporary homelessness due to loss of employment, illness, or other issues, as well as those who are chronically homeless due to disabilities. There's a difference, chronic homeless. There's a difference between someone who chooses not to accept help, not to accept a home when we offer them a home, and people who are incapable of working. If you're on disability, you get $900 a month. Where can you live in Murfreesboro and have all your groceries and utilities and everything for $900 a month? So it's a difficult problem. Our next step is to do something called permanent supportive housing for people who cannot get a job. So we're going to do the very best we can. As I said, we've been working for 8 weeks weekly to come up with something to hold our clients more accountable, to come up with a framework where residency becomes a big deal. And we're going to do it, and we're committed to it. The board is deeply committed to this. We have already developed operational protocols to assure that the majority of our efforts are directed toward clients who have the capacity and desire to overcome their current state of homelessness. If you want, and we have clients who want to live under the bridge, who want to live in a camp. We say, here's an apartment, here are the utilities paid, here are the deposits paid. I don't want to live in the apartment. I want to get free food and laundry and clothes and just leave me alone. That person might need to go back home. If they're not from here, then they might need to go back home. And with this new plan of Darren Gore's, they might get back home. The Journey Home is going to be part of the solution. We are committed to that, and we have worked very hard to come up with a framework. Am I getting this? Yes, ma'am. Okay.
I want to make sure we have time for questions. Folks, I know I can say this on behalf of the entire city council. We 100% want to be compassionate. We want to make sure and help provide services. That's one of the reasons that we established the Community Investment Trust with the MED proceeds when we sold MED. We just had our 5-year anniversary. 5 years ago, we were given $248,000 to outside agencies. This year, it climbed to over $1 million using that. So we're really putting our money where our mouth is. But I hope if you would put yourself in an elected official's position. If you have a business owner that comes to you and says, "Hey, one of my employees just got chased to their work today," you have a mom who calls and says, "Hey, I tried to take my kid to the library today, and I had X happen. Or Kids Castle 3 or 4 years ago, you had 2 individuals that were at the pavilion that there was a stabbing at Kids Castle, where kids are playing. We have an act and a responsibility, or we have a responsibility to be able to act. And I know that we want to make sure that we are compassionate and take care, but our ultimate responsibility, our number one goal, is to make sure that our residents, not only just in downtown, but our residents in Murfreesboro, are safe. And I hope you respect that. And that really brings to our next segment that Chief will take care of. Chief Mike Bowen is going to talk about our real-time crime center. For the first time that I've ever been on city council this past year, the city council, we implemented a new pay plan almost 3 years ago. We upped that again last year in July. And a starting police officer, the salary now is in the mid-60s to be able to start. It's still not enough for our police and fire, but it's the first time in Murfreesboro that we have been 100% staffed in our police department. Chief Bowen's a big reason of that. So Chief, why don't you tell us about what's going on?
Good evening. I'm Chief Mike Bowen. I've been with the Murfreesboro Police Department since 1988. Been the police chief for going on 8 years now. And I'm going to go off script for just a minute. The homeless issue, I think I'd be remiss to stand up here and not at least address that from the context of police. And just know a couple years ago, we developed what we called a homeless outreach services team to help address homeless issues. Sergeant Mark Wood is in the back, and I don't know how many of you know him, but he has been instrumental in the success of that program. Just know that when we're dealing with the homeless situation, we're looking for long-term solutions. We have a partnership with Volunteer Behavioral Health co-responders who go out with us and address individuals in mental health crisis, issues of that nature. And I know that Sergeant Wood and his staff and VBH really want to see, hey, we don't want to move this guy just off the street corner. We want to see if we can get some type of long-term solution or long-term help for them. Is there a lot of work to be done? Absolutely. When you're dealing with the numbers that we're looking at. But I am encouraged. I'm encouraged by some of the recent conversations we've had, some of the just candid discussions that have been had here lately. So I just wanted to say that before I started my presentation. So one of the big topics for us, one of the biggest projects we have going on right now is with the Real-Time Crime Center. And basically all we mean by the Real-Time Crime Center is we have an area set up to where we receive information to where our analysts can get quick access to it and share it with officers on the street. So Ryan, you in here? He's hiding in the back. Ryan supervises our crime data analyst unit. And basically these are non-certified, they're not certified police officers, but they're individuals that have training in analysis and data, dealing with data. We started the full operation in 2024. That was probably our first full year running the crime center, and basically we employ 3 types of technology with the crime center. We have license plate readers, public safety cameras, and gunshot detection equipment. Sometimes we get calls on structures being put up in town. There are cell phone towers, things like that. So when you look at our technology, those are the 3 pieces that we are responsible for. Some of these other things we get questions on aren't ours. I think the 5G towers are the big things going up right now, and a lot of people have been asking about those. But license plate readers, simple pole-mounted system, and all they track is vehicle information. They're not meant to track individuals. They're meant to track just the vehicles. Our entire staff at the department does not have access to do a query with license plate readers. Ryan, his crew, a very limited number of people can actually get in there and look up vehicle information, and then if an officer, detective, or somebody like that has a request for that, they have to fill out information so that he can look it up. And then there's also an auditing system to that. So There's a lot of concerns about privacy, and we definitely are aware of that, and we want to make sure that we use that information and protect it the best we can. The next item you see in the middle is a gunshot detection system. So basically, those are placed based on data we have for gunshot incidents. Murfreesboro 60-something square miles. When you look at the gunshot detection system, it only encompasses about less than 5 square miles. And it's not a system that constantly monitors. So when that thing is, if you have one near you, it's not recording voice conversations and not recording anything of that nature. It only activates when there is a gunshot that meets the threshold for detection. So, and then the last item you see is public safety cameras. We have several of those set up in town, and all of those were placed basically where our crime data show justification, or if we had specific areas of concern that required the placement of those. The cool thing about all these technologies is it's movable. So as we see crime trends change, as we see different things happening across the city, we can move a lot of that stuff around. Just looking at the outcomes of the real-time crime centers, in 2024, we had over 400 successes with that system, and basically that means investigative leave, solving a crime, or just something that resulted as a result of that information that was obtained. We recovered 55 stolen vehicles with the real-time crime center, cleared over 200 criminal cases, and halfway through 2025, we're looking at 275 successes and over 125 criminal cases being solved. Jumping to our crime stats, when you look at 2023 to 2024, you'll see that we were down in all categories. It's good news, good information, but it's one of those things, you know, we have to look at long-term trends. 1 year decline is great, but we have to look at the trend over multiple years before we get too excited about certain numbers coming in. And then when you look at our total offenses, those numbers are down as well when you compare 23 to 24. And then when you look at our total calls for service, when you compare 2023 to 24, they are down as well. So I think it's encouraging news, but like I said, you have to look for the long-term trends before we can really tell what's going on. So other than that, thanks for having us here, and I know we have a question and answer session coming up, and I'd be glad to answer any questions when that time comes up.
All right, let's open up for questions. So if you have a question, just raise your hand and I'll come to you. All right, back in the back.
When we were watching and listening to demonstration about affordable housing, we were talking about a Keystone project and everything with that. One thing that I really noticed is that it seems like there's a big lack of funding for affordable housing, from what I understand. I saw that in that presentation, they talked about $1 million being dedicated towards affordable housing, and the Keystone project is going to be about $150 million. That was $1 million since 2022 as well. So as someone who is also concerned about homelessness and everything, like, you know, we don't want to see people on the street. A big part of that is, you know, finding them affordable housing. So I think it's important that City Council consider doing more, and I was curious if there's any plans in the future to do more with affordable housing.
Anyone want to catch that? Any of y'all want to talk about it? Yeah.
There is, you know, it's like homelessness. There is not a single silver bullet that's going to answer that question of affordable housing. It's going to take the business community. It's going to take developers. Government has a part in it. But the issue is we need to be talking about it more. We need to engage the citizens more. There are several things that can be. You can, the compromise with the development community is sometimes density. You provide more density and you got a lower price per unit. But there's lots of answers out there. This is not a Murfreesboro only problem. This is a problem that every city of any size in our country is facing. So we have to continue to engage with each other and try to be open to listening to some of these solutions, some of these ideas. But it's going to take everybody working. Our community is in such fast transition. Sometimes I think that's been the problem. We're having this influx of people at a large rate, and we're having to make decisions on the fly. So I'd just encourage you to, if you have an idea, contact us. The one thing about, like I say, contact our community, talk to our developer. You got to meet some people tonight. These people can, if you'll talk to them, if you have an idea or you've heard of something in another part of the community. Somebody called me the other day and had an idea that I haven't had a chance to look at it yet, but it's a kind of a collaborative effort between the development community and the government to provide some, and Keystone has a reduced 5% off for firefighters, for first responders, and was it teachers involved? Teachers involved as well. So a part of that, now, the numbers need to be a little bit higher, I think, for most of us, thinking when you need making a compromise for first responders and teachers, it might need to be a little bit higher numbers. But we've got to stay in contact and communication with each other to come up with those solutions. But right now, if it was an easy answer, we'd already be doing it. It's not going to be an easy answer. Sean, go ahead.
So I'll talk about affordable housing a little bit too. I guess I'm going to be he was the angel on your shoulder and I'll be the other side. So who all in this room likes high-density housing? Raise your hand. Got 2, 3. So the way to get affordable housing is to go really, really dense, and mostly everybody in this room didn't raise their hands. The days of building a starter home for $150,000, they're just not there anymore. Mayor, how much does it cost per square foot to build a house nowadays? $250 a foot. So just on the inputs of the house, not counting the land, you're at $250 a foot. Just do the math on a 1,300 square foot house. But we also got to understand what the definition of affordable housing is. Does anybody know what the definition is? Anybody want to raise their hand? Affordable housing is based off what the median household income of your city can afford is what's called affordable housing. Based off our median income, an affordable house is $430,000. So, those are real fact statistics, but yes, I agree. I work in this every single day, and I would tell you that I wouldn't think a $430,000 house is an affordable house, but by definition, by the median income of Murfreesboro, a $430,000 house falls under the definition of affordable housing. Does that surprise anybody? Yeah, it does. And the same thing with rent. What do you think the affordable rent number is based off of median income? Anybody want to throw out a number? $1,800. So yes, when we think about affordable housing, we're thinking about a $150,000 starter house, or we're thinking about a $1,000 house or $1,000 apartment to rent, but by definition, those are way under what the definition of affordable housing is. Yes, there are ways we can work with developers to kind of go, okay, we need a carve out of this many houses or this many apartments or this many units fall under a reduced rent or a reduced sales price. But that has to be the development community coming forward and helping out with that number too. So just wanted to go through some facts and statistics.
Thanks. All right, who else? Sean.
Would you mind, I bet a lot of folks didn't know this, would you mind explaining how other cities are dropping folks off of here in the Greyhound situation?
You know, folks, I think it's a catch-22, and Sean's question was, can you talk about, I'm going to say it, other communities that are sending their people to Murfreesboro, and I think this is just the fact. When other communities are not providing services, people will flock to communities to find those services. And we, when I say we, our police team, our public safety team, 100% have seen where other communities send their people to Murfreesboro because we are providing those resources. And
People just show up here, or you meet people, other communities are actively sending them?
I
Are we going to start letting people in other cities? I heard that earlier. Yeah.
Well, I think the whole portion, look, and I'll say this, out of the United Way data that we've got, 36% of the people who are in our homeless community have lived in Murfreesboro less than 1 year. So, and I think what that is showing is that you'll hear Scott Foster, you'll hear other people in our community say that it's really hard to go hungry in the city of Murfreesboro because there are a lot of people who are really trying to make sure that you don't go hungry. But at the same time, and I say this respectfully to you, if someone wants, I was meeting with someone today who just recently moved to our city and they're working in our hospital and they're like, look, we go to Denver and we have to step over people to be able to get to a restaurant or to go downtown. And I'd be diplomatic in saying this, as long as I'm an elected official, and I think I say this as our council, if that's what you're looking for, that's not going to happen in Murfreesboro. We want to be able to support our community partners. We want to be able to support our strategic partners. But we also don't think it's fair to the city of Murfreesboro or any other community to be able to bear the burden of responsibility for other communities who are not doing their job either. That's not fair. And we talk about affordable housing. You know, I put a poll up, I don't say a poll, just getting people's comments, and there were so many I couldn't keep up with everything, but there were 3 questions. Do you want more density in the community? And that was an overreaching, no, we don't want density. We'd like maybe some mixed use. 2, do you want governmental assistance? Should the government be intervening into the markets? That was a resounding no. And then 3 was, do you want more apartments? And that was a resounding no. We don't want more apartments. So we're sitting as community leaders and trying to figure out, okay, we don't want more density. We think that we're already crowded enough. We don't want the government to be able to go in and manipulate the market or do other things. And then 3, we don't want apartments. So we're going, and that's what we're working on to try to come up with some creative solutions. So Sean, it's a great question, and I think that's something that we're all continually working with. So, Matt.
So I live downtown, and one of the issues we've got, I live on Church Street. There's multiple houses downtown that have either caught fire or vacant. The homeless are living in them. They're crawling in and out of windows. Some of the houses have been burned down since 2016, and nothing's been done. Can the city buy those, find the landlords, tear them down, do something so we can clean it up? Because now they're invading our neighborhood, not just the square, not just the commercial area. You know, I've had homeless knock on my door at 11:30 at night trying to bang to come in. I've seen them pooping on the street. It's kind of disgusting. So it's affecting the neighborhood. And is there something the city can do about that as well?
You can find our number on the website. Feel free to reach out. We do have a property maintenance program. We can go out and investigate that. We do have a lot of active cases right now. Sometimes it's hard for us to track landlords down. Sometimes it does take a while to see some action. But just feel free to reach out to us. Anytime you guys see a property maintenance violation or vacant home, feel free to reach out. Call me directly if you need to. And we can start a case and kind of keep you guys updated on those properties and their progression. So.
Yes, ma'am.
Good evening. I'm Laura Clark. On the housing discussion, there's another term besides affordable housing called housing affordability, and that's different. There is a development in Knoxville called the Missing Middle, and it's in Knoxville, and it is to address the housing shortage and housing affordability. I don't know the details of it, but it's worth looking into. I have had a conversation with the state agency director on this, so I would say, Vice Mayor, this is something to look into because it is working in Knoxville, and it is partially addressing the issue. Beyond that, I can't, in an informed way, give you details.
Thanks. I just wanted a little clarification, either from the police chief or Councilman Wright. It's news to me that it's against the law to hand out food or water to someone, and I'm wondering if this is now going to be a priority for the police to cite people if we try to give assistance to the unhomed community. I feel like the police resources are better used elsewhere.
There's no law against handing out food and water to the homeless. I mean, it is not against the law to panhandle in the square or pedestrian. Well, it's against city code to solicit between a pedestrian and a vehicle at an intersection. So that's prohibitive. That is unlawful to be at a corner and soliciting through a vehicle, either the driver or the passenger. So that can't be done. It's not unlawful to panhandle, to have a pedestrian-to-pedestrian interaction. So that was just clearing that up. That's not you can give water and food to anybody you want to on the square.
I think where the difference is, you have I'm not a lawyer, but I've been around a lot of legal stuff over the last 20 years. You can be on the sidewalk. That's your First Amendment right to do that. But the minute that you step off of that sidewalk, for example, if you're a panhandler and you step off of the sidewalk into the road to be able to collect money, that's against our ordinance because it's not safe. Many of us, I get routine comments a lot about drivers in Murfreesboro and our traffic in Murfreesboro, and it is not safe to be able to get in the middle of the road or step out on the road to try to collect money or get things. That's against our ordinance. Does that make sense? That's the difference. All right. Yes, ma'am. All right, we've got about, sorry. Yeah, that Miss Huddleston had. Yeah, well, you have Greenhouse, you have Coal Patrol, you have Salvation Army. There are places inside of Murfreesboro that people are working to help with that. Is it enough? Yeah, but I say this, and again, First Methodist, and we had talked about this. If other communities are not providing those services, and we are, what happens? I'm asking that, ma'am, I'm asking that respectfully. If right, I agree with that, but we have to get other people to do the right thing as well. I mean, and I say this, as the residents who are out here, please, and I ask this, who wants their taxes to go up? Okay, so this is what I'm saying. Again, please hold on.
What we deal with every single year on our budget, this year we're ended up about half a billion dollar budget, $270 million in operational costs. We've done that with one tax increase over the last 30 years. We're trying to do the best that we can with the budget we have, and that's what we work on. Who else just got their hands up? Yes, Mr. Baines.
Is it okay to change the subject? The bottoms, the Cannonsburg project. 9 years ago, I attended a public meeting. The city was seeking input on the development of what we used to call the bottoms. It's the Cannonsburg area now. And two of the things that came out of that meeting were addressed tonight. One good, one not so good. The good one was the realignment of Front Street. The one that's not so good is the pedestrian bridge. I was at the meeting when that was proposed. The problem at that time was getting the people for, like Uncle Dave Macon days, from the city garage to Cannonsburg. We don't have that problem anymore. The demographics have changed. We need to look ahead to what's going to be down the road with this new development coming in, and what are the people what are their needs going to be for recreation? The pedestrian bridge today is like a cure in search of a disease. When that was discussed, people had no idea of what an ADA compliant bridge looks like. And I have not seen the plans yet, but I think the state has maybe 3 designs. One of them that I'm familiar with would add about 300 feet to your trip across Broad Street. One that included an elevator. It would cut it to adding only 150 feet to your trip across Broad Street. The point that I'm trying to make, and maybe a little clumsy doing it, is I think I would like to see the city hold another town meeting specifically addressing the demographics that we're looking at when the new, what is that project?
Town Creek.
Well, Town Creek, but that building. Keystone, yeah. What are we going to be looking at when Keystone gets here? I probably won't be here, but we have to speak for those people. What are their needs going to be? And I would like to see another town meeting addressing what's going to happen with Keystone in that park area.
I forgot, Mr. Baines has come to our council meetings for 20 years. I forgot that you never give Mr. Baines a microphone, right, Mr. Baines? Jim, do you want to talk about that? Yeah, Darren?
Well, Mr. Baines, it's great to see you, by the way. It's been a while. I'm glad to see you up and about. So I think what's happening with the Town Creek is we are activating a space right now that's not been activated for 50 or 60 years, right? We've got an open creek. This is going to be a linear park. It's going to be greenway. It's going to have stages, open stages. It's going to have plazas with concessions. It's going to create a hospitality type environment that when that space gets activated, people are going to want to be there. And then we want that connectivity to downtown. So the Keystone project and that mixed use, bringing more people into the downtown area, getting the square, the downtown study that's coming up, and trying to look at those projects of opportunity in Town Creek, all those are interlinked. So we do think that that bridge is key in order to get the downtown traffic over to an amenity, because once those people start going to that amenity, once the Town Creek is built, it's going to drive the market. There's going to be more concessions, there's going to be more retail, there's going to be more hospitality, music-type venues. There's going to be a lot of things, I think, that pop. I'm not an economic development guru, but I know that in the economic development world, when you see things move, the momentum creates more movement, and it creates, if you build it, more will come. So that's really the strategy, and we got to get that downtown area activated to that space. We're spending $22 million, $9 million of that is ARPA money, but on that Town Creek project to open that. And there's a lot of, we've talked about the amenity, but there's a lot of environmental quality enhancements too that come along with that Town Creek project. If you want to talk about the specifics of the pedestrian bridge, that's, Mr. Kerr can go into that, but it's, yes, we've had multiple designs, and the ADA requirement is ultimately going to require an elevator. So, if that answers your question.
One last question.
Thank you very much. Well, I'm Dave Boffman, and our building is right down in the midst of everything. We're right next to Journey Home. We're at the corner of Front and Castle Street. So we're kind of intimate with not only the daylighting of the Town Creek, but the homeless. I've worked with the homeless for a number of years back through Murfreesboro Rescue Mission, Journey Home, and so forth. So seeing all this development and being part of the original steering committee back when we did the bottom study, we all agree that homelessness is really ranked number one. That was one of the things that came up in our community input, was addressing the homeless. And we see it from the standpoint of being intimate. One of the biggest things I see is, and John Hinkle made mention of it when we were first here. If you need to use the bathroom, go right through the doors back to the back. Homeless don't have that availability, so we've got a health issue with needing to address some basic needs. There is housing, finding shelter. A home is, what we're looking at is shelter. A home is built from the inside out. We have so many mental health issues that we've got to address. It's almost like a Rubik's Cube that you'll never solve, but the worst thing you can do is not pick it up and play the Rubik's Cube. And so we're looking at all these wonderful things in our community, and we are a caring, compassionate community, but a lot of the thought process is, if we build it, they will come. Well, they're coming regardless. We don't want them bust in here, but we do need to take care of our fellow human beings. But back over to the Town Creek project, one of the things I see is tying in the Greenway, which has been talked about, Discovery Center and so forth, and there's no bridge coming across Church Street. We've got the bridge across Broad, but we're not tying in one of our most fabulous centers, which is the Discovery Center. And that's really where this all starts, and there's no means of walking across Church Street to then extend through the Greenway and so forth. So again, it takes all of us to care and get involved. There's a lot of lip service that's done. Oh, we got this problem and that. Get involved. And we used to have HARC, H3, ARC. That's kind of gone by the wayside. But the biggest thing I can say is get involved. Do something about it. So, again, the bridge over Church is one thing, but again, we don't want to have the thought process of, if we develop this area, we'll move the homeless out. That's not what we're intending to do. So.
Council members, y'all have anything? Bill, you want to close this out?
Is there another question?
Just take me for a second. Hey, I'm Barney Potts. I've lived in Murfreesboro for 27 years. I don't live in downtown area. I've owned a business here since I've lived here. I grew up in Smyrna. I was born in Nashville. You know, this is my home. This is my home. But for the last 6 years, I've done a homeless ministry on these streets. I know the police. Man, I have so much compassion for them. Journey Home does a good thing, but there's some of them that can't go to Journey Home because of what they've done. If there's sexual crimes, hey, it could be a criminal. They might have got into it. Mental issues is a big thing out here. Look, I started the ministry one day. I was in the Gideon's group for praying every Saturday for the world. We prayed every Saturday for the world, right? It was a good group to be in. And I drove by through town on a Saturday morning after I left the group. And I seen a bunch of people in the public library up here in front. And I seen 3 guys giving them coffee and burritos. And I stopped. And I stood there and I watched what they did. So the 3 guys, I kept coming for a couple of weeks. And then I said, it's got to be more than just to feed them. It's got to be more than just to feed somebody. Don't get me wrong, we're human beings. We should feed somebody. If there's a person that ever asks you to feed them, you should feed them if you're human. Because nobody should ever go hungry. We live in America. We throw more food away at restaurants because the foods are so large, we don't think about the people that's on the streets. Look, I have so much compassion for them. I tell them all the time, you don't want my opinion, because my opinion is there's 2 things in this world you need. You need God in your life and you need a job. Them 2 things right there will get you through this world. And them 2 things right there will give you a relationship with everybody else you come in contact with. I've been doing ministry on these streets every Saturday morning for 6 years. I don't do it because I do it for myself. I've never come out here and asked for recognition. I've done everything that the Murfreesboro City Police, they know who I am. I've done everything they've asked me to do. I've done it up on the public plaza when they passed the ordinance about no feeding the food. I said, look here, I'm going to go somewhere because I got to tell them what the gospel is. I got to tell them they're loved because they do not know that they're loved. When you get so far down in your life, when you've lost a marriage, I used to think that the homeless is caused by they was on drugs or alcohol. But if you stop and ask some of them, it's about a divorce. They've lost the divorce. They've lost their job. They got kicked out of eviction. They cannot afford housing. Mental health issue. You know how many people out here that I see every week that talks to themselves? There's some that when I first met them, don't get me wrong, Woodbury themselves brings them to here to drop them off because Woodbury don't have a resource. We work with a group in Woodbury. They're opening up a house there. They bought a church to open up recovery houses and help people out there because they're shipping them here. They bring them to the line and drop them off. We see them every Saturday. We work with many groups, many church groups here. We all used to feed on the streets, but then it became a problem in the city. The city didn't want us to do it because we didn't do it. But here's the thing. We all meet at another place at a church now and feed them every week to get them off the street. Look here, I give them bicycles when they get a job. When they get them a house, we offer them anything that they need to furnish their house. We do this out of our own pockets. We don't ask somebody for nothing.
Thank you. Do you want to say something?
I've been sitting here, I've been listening to a lot of this tonight. I'm going to try and kind of close this out here. Let me finish, ma'am. And we'll all be up here after this, but I'm hearing this thing about homelessness. And Bill and I, we're opening this up tonight talking about getting involved in your community. And we want that. And if you've got an idea, we want to hear from you. Well, I want to tell you a story about homelessness. My son came to me in high school, 2013. One of his football buddies, mother lost the job, lost the house. Mother ended up at the sister's with the daughter. The young man ended up at my house for 2 years. Ended up giving him a car, giving him a home, giving him a place to live. So I'm saying this not to ask for sympathy or empathy, but if you've got a solution, if you've got a room in your house, if you've got a better idea, there's a lady right over here with Journey Home who I'm sure would love your help, would love that solution. there is a way, and we want your ideas, and I would appreciate your ideas, so be sure to reach out to us. Let me hand this over to Bill.
Okay, as the mayor said, we'll all be down here, and there'll be people in the community. I'd love the lady that had the idea over there, if you'll come and let me know exactly what you were saying. I couldn't quite hear you. But folks, you know, there's something that I want to just remind you of. While there's all kinds of things that would divide us in this community, I think there's one thing that every single person in this room will agree. We live in a very special place. And I'll remember a stewardship program one time from a pastor or preacher said, you know, I've got good news and bad news for the stewardship campaign. The good news, we have all the money and all the resources we need, all the money we need to meet every need that we're going to have in the coming year. And he said, the bad news is it's in your pocket. So the resources to address all the different needs that we have in our community are us. We. And if we will stop worrying so much about who's going to take credit or who's going to get blame, and start joining our hands and listening in respectful dialogue with each other, and maybe even someone that disagrees with you. Maybe somebody that's not wearing the same colored jersey you're wearing. If we will agree to disagree on issues and only focus on those things that will bring us together, we can address, there's no problem too big. And quite honestly, we might set the pace for other communities if we can come up with innovative solutions to the problems that face communities our size. This is a church. I hope you're not offended, but I'm going to ask you to pray with me. Dear Lord, thank you for this time and for this place, for all the hearts that are here tonight, for they care about their community. Lord, help us to look beyond our own agendas, to seek an agenda that truly meets the needs of our community. Help us to be quick to listen and not quick to speak. Lord, may you do something in the midst of us so that, Lord, you may do something through us. Lord, thank you for the faithfulness of all the people that have gone before us in this community, for how they have truly been a blessing to us, for the place and the quality of life that we have for our families here today. Help us to find our place, whatever that is, whether it be in a church, in a community group, whatever that goal and the opportunity is. Open our eyes and our hearts to see the opportunity to serve our community, and give us the will and the courage to step beyond our doubts and fears and actually do something that makes a difference in our community. And thank you for each blessing, each person that's here tonight. Have them go safely. And dear Lord, in all that we do, may we honor you. In Jesus' name we pray. Amen.